pastor or anybody in this organization, the information is there to us in the Terrence Higgins Trust. And of course, we have a referral pathway for anyone who needs further support or who tests positive. And that's what it's about. I can obviously explain the tests when you come forward. So I encourage each and every one of you to come forward to get tested. I think it's good to know, and it's one of those things about normalizing HIV testing. Lots of people have different concerns about testing. Obviously, I've explained to you how easy it is to test, but also the fear of the unknown as well. What people need to understand now is that HIV is no longer a death sentence. There's lots of support, for people living with HIV, and people can go many years living, basically having a normal life expectancy. So just like how, AHPA, we've got MS Foundation, there's lots and lots of different organizations there for people, for African people and of course for general population as well. Lots of support for people living with HIV or people who are affected by HIV. So I encourage you to come forward to test, and I look forward to seeing you in the room down the corridor. Yeah. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about any particular information you'd like to ask openly? Of course, you can ask me, like I said, on a one-to-one, or if there's anything you want to ask, just to open a bit of a discussion. You shy? Hi.
I've got a question. How effective is the test?
The test is 99.8% effective. Obviously, like I said to you, the test we're using today is an INSTI test. So what you get is a reactive or a non-reactive result. If the result comes out as being reactive, then we have to do a confirmatory test where we then take intravenous blood and send that to the lab in order to have a confirmatory test and a diagnosis to be given. Because there's a little percentage of a false positive when we test here, but I would usually ask a series of questions and be able to exclude any possibilities of that. So there's certain things that could cause a false positive, but like I said, any reactive result would be followed up by a confirmatory test that will be sent off to an NHS lab. Hi.
So I was just wondering, if I have the test today and it's negative, does it mean that I don't have it?
Well, again, I'll be taking a sexual history and finding out any risk factors. So it depends on any risk, any exposure, any risk that the person has had. If, say, for example, somebody has feels that they might have been exposed maybe in the last 2 weeks, the results they will not be conclusive. They'll have to come back, in about 8 to 12 weeks for another test. So it all depends on the individual. I'll discuss this in a one-to-one with the person and see what their situation is, and then decide if and when they need to retest. Hello.
Yeah, you said you deal with Black African communities.
Yes, that's one of the projects I manage. I manage the African Group Up project at the Terrence Higgins Trust.
Okay, so how do you deal with those who don't speak English? I mean, because Africa is a big continent, so
yeah. Okay, some of the work that we do as health trainers is within the hospital. So say, for example, if I was working in St. Thomas's Hospital, there's a translation, there's the phone line where you get a translator in. Some people obviously would come in with someone that can translate, but that can be a bit tricky sometimes because you're not sure if they're actually translating what you're saying to them. So we usually prefer to have, someone who is separate from that, an independent and professional person that interprets. Within our team, we have a vast range of staff. So we have people from Nigeria, we have people from Tanzania, we have people from Kenya. So there's a mixture of people in the team. So if, say, for example, I had a client that came in and maybe they only spoke Yoruba, then maybe I'll be able to see them on a one-to-one, or my colleague will be able to see them. So within our team, we have the structures in place to support. Otherwise, we use the front line where we can, be able to support them better. I must say as well, there is also some groups, like say, for example, the French-speaking community. There's some organizations like FAWA, that provide services for people from specific countries or specific language. Any other questions? Any questions? questions from the panel? No? Okay, so thank you very much, and hope you come forward to get tested.
Thank you very much, Chris.